5 money beliefs that could be hurting you. That's what I want to share with you in today's video. Welcome to another episode of #Winning. Uriel King here, CEO and founder of Healthpreneur. We help health professionals build transformational coaching businesses. But the problem is you can't build a business that's going to sustain the test of time if you don't make any money. And mindset and money set are two of the biggest obstacles that hold so many health professionals back from achieving greatness in their business and in the lives that they're looking to help transform. I want to share 5 beliefs that I've seen pop up over and over again, and I think you might relate to a few of these. And if you do, please let me know in the comments below. And I'm going to show you how to think through this stuff so that you can move through the resistance, move through the challenges, and ultimately help more people make more money and win back a lot more of your life. So, first money belief that you want to definitely get rid of if you have this is the belief that people will not pay premium dollars for their health. Now listen, the way I like to think about this is logical, okay? So on the planet of 8 billion people, is it logical that every single one of those 8 billion people is not willing to pay premium dollars for their health? Now, when I say premium, I'm talking about several thousand, even tens of thousands of dollars. Is it reasonable to assume that every single person on this planet would not be willing to do that? No, it would be no, there's got to be a few of them, right? Now, on the flip side, is it fair to say that all 8 billion people would pay premium dollars? No, right? So it's obviously there's spectrum, right? There's this side and this side. But the idea is to think about, is it plausible that there are a percentage of people out there who will pay premium dollars for their health? And even if you have no reference points, just think of this logically. Could there be a few? The answer is yes, right? And that's going to be the same for anything. And again, we help our clients do this on a daily basis. And collectively, our clients have helped hundreds of thousands of people to better health, not by free healthcare, not by insurance-based nonsense, by charging premium dollars. Now, remember that if you have the belief that that's bad, then there's nothing I can do to help you with that. That's something you have to work through. There's a lot of nonsense and a lot of people out there who think that, charging for health is immoral. Well, no, it's not. What's immoral is doing nothing and being a slob and unhealthy and not taking control of your own body and your own life and expecting others to give you these free lunches, quote unquote, to help you achieve the goals you want to achieve. That's never going to happen. So in the world of people wanting to improve their health, is there going to be a percentage of people who expect everything to be free? For sure. And those are not the types of clients you want to attract. Those are the types of people that are relying on a broken system that got them sick in the first place. But there is a good percentage of people out there who are willing to part ways, investing in themselves, to part ways with their money, to actually have a solution that works. And it doesn't mean that they have to be wealthy. We're not talking about serving the 1%. Our clients do not serve the 1%. They serve the everyday person who, may not have cash sitting around to throw $3,000, $4,000, or $5,000 into a health transformation program, but because it's a must for them, they find a way. And it's your ability to believe that getting someone to invest in themselves is the least amount of money they will ever spend, right? For someone who's been dealing with a health issue for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, for them to drop $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, even $10,000 on a program that will transform their life is nothing. And you have to believe that, because if you don't, they won't. And if you believe that it's immoral to charge premium prices for health, they will too. Everything you are dealing with starts up here, right? Your life, your world is a projection. It's the movie screen of what you believe up here. So if you believe people will not pay premium dollars for a health transformation, that's exactly what you're going to get coming into your life. Cool? Second money belief that could be hurting you is, who am I to be rich? Who am I to be rich? I was brought up in a lower class family. My parents didn't have a lot. They told me money didn't grow on trees. They said, blah, blah, blah. Who am I to be rich? Well, who are you not to be rich? Just think about that. Here's the thing. The most effective way to break beliefs that are not serving you is to question them. So if you ask yourself the question, who am I to be rich? I would just ask you, who are you not to be rich? And just sit with that for a second. And then the only thing that's going to come up is your own self-worth, how you feel about yourself, and all sorts of bullshit that you've been conditioned from a young age, right? You have to understand that the shit that your parents and society has put into your brain was not your choice. It was force-fed down your throat through years of exposure and conditioning. And I don't care how old or young you are, every single day you have the choice to change those belief patterns. Now, is it easy? Not at all, right? Like, you got to go into the garden, you got to pull out the weeds. But like, why shouldn't you be rich? Why should someone else be rich and not you? Remember, like, if you're a health professional and you're helping people overcome a major health problem or feel better about themselves or change the way they look and feel, why should you not be rich in the service of those people? Money is simply an exchange of value. You help why should someone pay $30, $40, $50, $100, $200, $300,000 for a fucking car? And they don't complain about that. But can you imagine charging $200,000 for a health transformation? People would hang you publicly. That's how fucked up a lot of people's mindsets are around this stuff, right? You have to not buy into that bullshit, right? Again, how people spend their money is an expression or a clarification of what they value in life. So if someone tells you, your thing is too expensive and they're going to go drop $5,000 or $10,000 on a vacation, they just told you what's more important to them. And so for you to really embody this, you have the key to so many people's issues. And for you not to be wealthy in the service of those individuals, I don't see why that, why that would be an issue. Again, all it is it's just that you have to move through the resistance. There's a lot of limiting beliefs underneath all that that's going to hold you back. Well, I don't want to help too many people because I want to make sure my clients get the personalized attention. It's all bullshit. These are all limiting frames of mind that are not serving you. So who are you not to be rich? Third money belief that's probably hurting you, and this is a big one, is rich people got rich by doing bad. I was on a drive a couple years ago with 6 friends. We all had supercars, okay? So we pull off the highway, go into this small town, and we took a bathroom break. So 6 supercars parked on this small street, and this lady drives by in a pickup truck. She rolls down her window. She doesn't even know us. And she yells out the window, "You rich pricks." I'm like, cool. Now I know everything I need to know about you. Thanks so much for driving by. Rich people, listen, money is an amplifier, right? Money simply amplifies who you are. If you're a prick, you're going to be a prick at a higher level. If you're a nice person, you're going to do more good. Money simply amplifies who you are. I'm no different of a person. Obviously I've grown as a person, but I'm no different as a person now with the level of financial independence I've created compared to 20 years ago when I was dead broke, where I still care about helping people. I still want to help people achieve the best that they could possibly achieve. And I'm not selling cocaine. I'm not we're not scamming anyone. There's no nonsense here, okay? And the same for you. I would assume if you're watching this video, you're a person who has good intentions, you want to help people, and there's nothing wrong with making money as a byproduct of helping other people. And it's an exchange of value, right? Someone builds your house, you pay them money. They've built something for you, you pay them money. Why should a builder not get wealthy, assuming they do a good job, right? Why should a chef not be wealthy for creating an amazing culinary experience for people going to the restaurant, right? Why should a dentist not be wealthy, helping people improve their dental hygiene? Why should you as a health professional not be wealthy? Because you can help people achieve better health outcomes. So you're not doing bad, right? You're doing good in this world. And never feel bad about the money you're making. Because if you do, you're not going to want to make money. If you think that bad people, if you have to be Pablo Escobar to make money, for instance, selling cocaine and doing nonsense, you will never move into that direction because you will never become the type of person you want to become. So maybe it's time to change the point of reference to think of some good examples of people who are rich, wealthy, etc., who are doing tremendous good in this world. And again, don't watch the news. Stop listening to bullshit that's not supporting you, because in this world, there are always opposite sides of the spectrum. You can say, yeah, well, what about that guy? Well, fuck him, right? If he's doing bad stuff in the world, ignore him. Focus on the people who are doing good stuff in the world who are making a lot of money, because I can promise you there are both. And it doesn't mean that like you are a bad person by making money. But I can promise you this, if you're a good person at heart and you have more money, you will also do way more good with that money in this world for you and for other people. Fourth money belief that we got to get rid of is hilarious. It's not all about the money. Okay? Now, I was actually, this is interesting. I was actually at a soccer store this past weekend, and I was picking up a pair of shoes, and I parked my McLaren outside. So there's like 3 cars in the parking lot, and I go to check out, and there's this mother with 3 kids, and I'm standing literally behind her, and she can see me pretty much in the line. And the kids are pointing into the parking lot like, hey, like, what's that? That's a McLaren, right? And then the mom starts going off about who would own such a car. Like, where can you even drive that? And she's talking to the teller, like the clerk behind the desk. And I'm literally 2 meters beside her, and I'm just pretending like I don't own that car. I just want to hear the bullshit that's coming out of her mouth. Well, who would own that kind of car? That's ridiculous. Like, you can't even, where can you even drive that? And, you know, for me, there are more important things in life. Health is first. I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck are you talking about? Health is first. Why are you even comparing it's a car or health? And I was biting my tongue. I wanted to and I'm just observing this, and I felt sorry for her kids, who, by the way, were a little bit overweight for someone whose health is most important. Bullshit. So here's what's interesting is that she was of a certain ethnic background, which I'll just keep it anonymous, where in that culture, those individuals, because I'm from a very similar culture, are basically indoctrinated from a young age to become doctors, engineers, lawyers, period. Okay? So here we are saying, I like judging this car and the person who would own that type of car, because it's not all about the money, right? Health is most important. Yet, you must become a doctor. You must become an engineer. Bullshit indoctrination, okay? So I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm healthy. I'm in great shape. I do work I love. I help a lot of people. And I have 2 McLarens. Why can't I have all of it? And this is the type of insidious nonsense that parents like dump onto their kids. And I felt sorry for these 3 kids, because these 3 kids were now being brought up with, and like, again, like this is a 2-minute, interaction that I'm observing. I can only imagine the nonsense that these kids have now adopted from that type of mindset, and just such a broke, small-minded, zero-sum type of thinking that is going to now infect those 3 kids. And unless they grow out of that, it will just continue to spew. This is how bullshit just like continues, right? This is how these limiting beliefs, and it's like, well, if you have a car, it's not about the money. There's more important things in life. I'm not saying how does having a nice car imply that there are not more important things in life? It's just such fucked up thinking. I'm not saying having a supercar replaces being healthy. And I'm not saying having a supercar negates, it's all about having them. It's not about the money. Like, where I don't understand, and again, I understand this and I don't understand at the same time. And I'm not here to judge. Like, people live their life. I'm not here to like convert anyone. I'm only preaching to the choir. That's all I'm going to do, right? But when people say it's not all about the money, I'm like, obviously it's not all about the money, but money makes life a lot better. Like, if you drive a nicer car, if you stay in a nicer hotel, if you live in a nicer house in a nicer area of the world, if you fly first for business or private, if you eat in better quality restaurants, if you have access to better quality of food, yeah, life is a little bit better. It's not, but I'm not saying it's all about the money, right? And this is like, but like, it's not all about the money. And at the same time, money is simply a byproduct of the good you're doing in the world, right? But some people don't see it that way. Right? They think overcompensated CEOs and corporate executives, doing harm at the expense of other people. It's like, man, this is such a small, narrow-minded view. And this is why people are just sucking the news. This is where they're getting their nonsense from. They see nonsense in the news, and then they think anyone else with money is kind of like that type of person. It's not all about the money, right? Because yeah, you should suffer in life. Yeah, but you should definitely be poor. But as long as you're healthy, it's all good, right? You should be poor and healthy. Yeah. Well, it's not the most important thing for my kids is that they're happy. Cool. You can be broke and happy. Like, is it this type of zero-sum thinking? Why can't you be happy healthy, and wealthy, because I certainly am, right? Then like you just have to, like the key thing here is identifying these beliefs. Like listen to the way you talk to yourself, listen to other people talking. And honestly, if I sit around someone for 30 seconds and listen to them speak, like in this conversation, I'm like, I never want to associate with that type of person ever in my life. Like that's the type of person that I would avoid at all costs. And it's unfortunate because like in 30 seconds, I can pretty much tell everything I need to know about this mindset. And likewise, if I were speaking, that person might look at me and be like, there's no way I would associate with that bald dude. He's way out to lunch. Good, right? Like you're not supposed to be everyone's cup of tea. You have to find those people you resonate with and are on the same wavelength as you, because you are never going to convert those people. You think I'm going to try to explain this to that lady online and I'm going to convert her? No way. It's a waste of time. I'm not a missionary on some mission. No, I'm here to simply shine my light, attract those who kind of vibe at the same level, and that's it. It's a waste of time and it's a waste of energy to try to convert people. Just speak your truth and attract people who agree with you. End of, period, end of story. Okay, so final belief here around money that's likely hurting you is that more money equals more problems. And this is true, to be honest. This is true. The more money you have, the more problems you will have. But this one took me a long time to get through, because when I was starting my business back in 2005, 2006, I made the conscious decision, or maybe unconscious decision, to stay broke, because I was working with a broke-minded accountant who was charging me under the table because I knew him from the gym I was working in. And he said, you don't want to grow your business too big because then you're going to have to pay more in taxes. And I was like, hey, that's good advice. Yeah. So let me stay small. So for 3 years, I made less than $30,000 a year. So I wouldn't have to pay HST, which was like a goods and services tax in Canada. It's so stupid. Because I thought that if I had more money, I'd have to have more money to pay in taxes, more problems, right? And that was a really big belief that held me back for a long time. But here's the way I changed that is I started to think about, well, yeah, that's true. I'll have more problems and I'll talk about this in a second. But is it also true that I can become a better person? I can become more skilled and more resourceful to handle those problems? It's like this. Another way of looking at this is like the stronger you get, or if you want to get in better shape, if you want to put on more muscle, you have to lift heavier weights. Oh man, I'll just stay skinny and unfit forever. No, like you look at, I'm going to go from 5 pounds to 20 to 50 to 100 to 120. And it's like, well, I can't do that right now. Obviously, you worked your way up and you get stronger. So back in 2005, I would never have imagined where I am now. I wouldn't even have known the skills are required to get to the level that I'm at now. But it's all good. It's like you will learn because you are a growth-oriented individual and you can figure things out and grow as you go. So more money definitely equals more problems, right? So like we have 4 cars, 2 homes, a bunch of assets, 4 kids, like all sorts of stuff. Like even having a pool, right? Like you have a pool, we had to replace the filters, right? $2,000 just to replace the filters. If we didn't have a pool, we wouldn't have paid the $2,000 in filters. Okay. So let's live in a tent in the desert and have no problems, right? And have a lower quality of life. So again, it's not about the stuff, but it's about becoming the person who's like, you're able to handle this stuff. Like I want to be someone who can handle a lot of problems because it means that I'm capable of doing so. I don't want to be the person who goes through life with no resistance, with like avoiding everything because it's going to be somewhat hard, right? Like it's just such a small-minded way of thinking about things. Another example I've shared before is I talked to enough people, like enough health professionals, and like they're happy at 10K a month. And I'm like, that's cool, but like why not 100K a month? You'll make more, you'll help more people. Well, oh man, like I don't want to have to hire people and, deal with all that stuff. And then I'm not going to give as good attention to my clients. I'm like, what if you can give better attention to your clients? And what if hiring people was actually the one thing that would free you more than anything else? It's like, well, because you don't know how to do it. You don't have the skills yet. You're not the type of person yet who's able to do that. But just because that's not true now doesn't mean it's going to be not true in the future. Like when I started my business, I had no employees. Like none of us do, right? And over the years, I've made hires and fires and a lot of good and bad decisions. And like people are your biggest asset and they're also your biggest liability if they're the wrong people. And I tell our clients this, like, listen, people will become the biggest problem in your life. Your clients will become your biggest problems. Your team members will become your biggest problems. But like, I'm not saying all of them, some of them, and not every single one. But what's the alternative? Like, you don't acquire clients because you don't want to deal with them. You don't hire people because you don't want to deal with them. No, like you can write an ebook and hopefully sell it online somehow. Good luck with that. The reality here is like, you should be grateful for being able to take on bigger problems. And as a result of solving bigger problems, you will get bigger paychecks. And if you're not making the money you want to be making right now, you're basically not solving big enough problems. If you're dealing with the same problems you were last year, you haven't grown much. And if you're a growth-oriented individual, which is another way of saying an entrepreneur, then you have to be you have to look at being uncomfortable. You have to look at getting out of your comfort zone, because you can't say growth is one of your core values if you're not willing to be uncomfortable. So yes, you will make more money. You will pay more in taxes. Who cares? I live in Canada, which is one of the worst countries to live in from a taxation perspective. It's completely backwards. But the reality is, what am I going to do? Like, I actually had my previous company. We moved to Barbados for 3 years. It was all legal and legit. Don't worry. But for what? Like, we saved a couple percentage points. Like, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. So we brought the company back to Canada. A couple years later, I sold it. And I've played that game of trying to like go to different jurisdictions for tax savings. It's not worth it. Like, it's not worth it. And my whole thinking now is I just have to make more money. Like, yeah, I'm going to pay more money in taxes. It is what it is, right? I'm not saying I'm not coming from a place of hopelessness. I'm just realistic about the fact that I don't want to live anywhere else other than where we are and where we're building in Mexico. And like, who cares? Like, at the end of the day, who cares? Just make more money, help more people. Is that going to mean more problems? Sure. More taxes, more people have to hire, more headaches, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter though, because you will always grow through it. And at the end of the day, revenue solves a lot of problems. So even though more money creates more problems, because there's stuff you're going to buy and stuff you're going to invest in, and there's more stuff you're going to have ownership around, it also solves a lot of problems, right? Because you don't have a problem if you can cut a check. Like, we had a leak in our basement. That was a problem, right? Regardless of how much money we had. There was a leak in the basement, problem. To be able to cut a check from insurance or from your bank, regardless, solves the problem. Contractor, fix it, done. Now, if that check is not created and given to the contractor, what's the solution? I'm going to fix the leak. Are you crazy? And this is how a lot of people approach their life. They're like, they don't have the money to solve the problem. So they drive around in cars that have dents along the whole side of the car. They live in homes that are falling apart because they can't cut a check to fix the problem. And either they have to figure out how to do themselves, which in most cases is going to make it worse, or they just deal with it. And that's unfortunate. So I would rather make a lot more money to be able to solve a lot of problems and deal with the problems that come with that, of having more money and owning things and liabilities and stuff like that. That's fine. Like, that's just the life I choose to live. And if you choose to live a life that is more low key, like money isn't everything, I want to live in a tent in the desert, cool, awesome. But I'm just going to challenge you. If you say you want to actually help a lot of people and build something substantial, like, it's not going to happen with that mindset. Again, like, I was talking to a girl on Instagram, 180,000 followers. She makes $1,000 a month. 180,000 followers on Instagram. I'm like, are you crazy? So she's looking at, possibly working with us in our entry-level program. And she'll say she doesn't even have a business credit card. I'm like, how do you not have a business credit card? Well, like, what are you doing here? Like, what game are you playing? What kind of fictitious, like, make-believe dollhouse business are you trying to build here? Like, this is not a business. This is ridiculous. If you're not serious enough to actually take out a business credit card to build your business, just work for someone else, right? Because if you're not willing to take on the risk, if you're not willing to take on the problems, someone else is. Go work for them, okay? So anyways, those are 5 money beliefs. Again, the key here is that you got to question these beliefs. Is this really 100% true? Just ask yourself, is this really true 100% of the time? The answer to that is most likely no. Second question, is it possible that opposite? Is it possible that good people make a lot of money? Is it possible that there are people out there who will pay premium dollars to improve their health? Is it possible that you can have a lot of money, be in great health, have great relationships? Probably. And is it possible that you can't have any of that stuff? For sure. So I just want you to get out of this, challenge the bullshit beliefs that have been planted into your head, not by you, but by other people who didn't have the same mindset as you did. Your parents, your whatever, the surroundings in your upbringing, the media, the news, none of that stuff has likely supported you and conditioned you with the right type of mindset or beliefs that are going to support you to grow as an entrepreneur. And that's why you have to be in the soup of listening to content like this. Whether it's these videos or audios or podcasts or anything, you have to be able to replant the seeds of goodness in your mind, because that is very much like nourishing your body with food. Like you have to nourish your brain with the right inputs. So that's all for today. Thanks for hanging out. Let me know which one of these 5 money beliefs has afflicted you the most in the comments below. Remember to subscribe while you're here, and I'll see you in the next video. In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 money laws you probably don't know about, and if you ignore these, you will be broke.